Hello and welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. And today we're doing a bit of a series of two very, very famous whiskies. We're doing Glenfiddich 12 and Glenfiddich 15.
And
but we're
more
just
important,
doing
much
12
more
today.
important. You got a haircut.
Yeah, I got a haircut again. I got a haircut again.
So,
Glenfiddich is one of the distilleries that I visited pretty much last. So and I never did any major tastings. So but I visited the distillery and I do love the story about Glenfiddich. And it's a story about a father, William Grant, and he worked for a big distillery in Dufftown, and then he decided with all the money that he made, he wants to make his own distillery, and he built used distillery from another very big distillery with a lot of stills and a lot of output that have very small stills. And he bought, I think, a few used stills from them and just took his 9 kids. Yes, he had 9 kids. And he actually, I think they were he was really rich, so he tried to get them into doctors and lawyers and all that kind of stuff. So he took them all out of school and said, "You guys, we're building a distillery now." And then they built a distillery. 9 kids. The boys had to carry the stones, and the girls had to bring them food, water, and carry lighter stuff, and that's how they built the distillery. So that's how Glenfiddich was raised.
And Glenfiddich is still privately owned by the family. Of course, with those 9 kids, the family is huge. And until, I don't know exactly, I think until the new millennial, there had been the great-granddaughter lived still on the premise, and she died in an age of 103. So this was wonderful then, and I visited the distillery in 1991. So
that was a long time ago.
34 years ago. So, but it hadn't changed from the outside, not a lot. So they have their rose, their special Glenfiddich rose in the entrance, yellow blooming, wonderful, just in the moment.
But I think the Glenfiddich, that they also told us that they started really early with visitor centers and stuff. Did they used to have a visitor center?
Yes,
in 91?
and this was very, very early.
Yeah. It was exceptional, because I think they were the first ones to have tours in the 1970s. They didn't have a distinctive visitor center there, but they did tours because people kept coming, and it was already booming. Glenfiddich is not a young brand. Glenfiddich is also, with single malt, is a very, very old brand. And that is also, I remember the story, was the Patterson crash. There was a huge blended Scotch whiskey called Patterson. And they were in all the bars, and they even had marketing. They trained parrots to say, "Order Patterson whiskey," and they brought them into the bars, and people were happy, and they were, "Oh, they bought Patterson whiskey," and that's how they sold. But they actually they made a kind of a bubble. They overestimated their stocks and got loans and created a lot of cash flow and played around with the money, and suddenly everything collapsed. And Glenfiddich was supplying, I think, 90% of their stuff to the Pattersons, also bottling for them, I think it was. And so what they did is then, okay, let's do a different brand and let's just label our own stuff. I think they started with a blend. So the blend was, they have Glenfiddich, they had their own malt distillery, and they got a few other stuff, and they started their own blend. But they also started the single malt very, very early.
Yeah, and they were founded in 1887. This is not too early in the whiskey business. And they still have as one of the very few distilleries, their own bottling plant for decades now. And they provide blend as well in the whole company. And they have 2 more malt distilleries on the premise.
Yeah, the thing is, they actually built another malt distillery when the thing with their blend and where their single malt kicked off. They thought, oh, we need the Glenfiddich for a single malt. We need another distillery. So they opened up a new workhorse that was just nameless Balvenie. And suddenly they were bottling Balvenie as well. And then they realized, oh my God, we need another workhorse because this is really good single malt. So they introduced Kinnenvie.
And Kinnenvie has a lot of different style stills so that they can produce different style whiskey for their blend.
But they are thinking about bringing out the Kinnenvie as a single malt.
There have been a few bottlings to the workers.
Yeah, there had been
and
a few.
Some of those were sold on the market. And they have this triangular shaped bottle, and those 3 faces represent water, fire, and barley. Yeah, I think that's it.
Do you know what a copper dog is?
Nope.
I learned that at Balvenie, the sister distillery.
There's copper dog. It's the leg in the boot.
Yeah. You have a little what do you call it? Little flask in the boot with the chain up to your belt, and you could just easily get it out, drop it into a cask, take it out, close it, and
smuggle it out.
So it was copper dog because it was walking at your leg along with you. So it was made of copper.
So, and the V shape on the bottle, in the glass as well, in the design, is from the Valley of the Deer. Glen means valley, and Fiddich is Gaelic for deer. So it's the Valley of the Deer. If I remember right, then Glenfiddich is again the best-selling single malt whiskey worldwide.
I think it is.
They lost their position 1, but then they accelerated again with their sales and marketing, and now they are again single malt whiskey number 1. So they have an awful lot of casks. It's incredible how many casks they have, and they increased capacity. They built a new still house, which I haven't seen yet. You've seen that? I've seen the old one. And so they have lots of spirit they produced, and they were able to increase the age of this whiskey. In former times, there hadn't been an age statement on it. And when I was there in 94 or 5, then they bottled 8-year-old casks, and now they are 12-year-old, so they improved it, and they gained in quality since then. And with this whiskey, you get the average taste of a Speyside whiskey all over the casks. The casks are comparable to other casks, but the stilling process with this very small stills, which give an intense whiskey, this is different to other distilleries. But this, what you have in the cask, is the average above all distilleries because they have this huge output in all those casks.
Yeah. So bottling is bourbon casks and Oloroso sherry casks. So
very few Oloroso sherry.
But it's
in,
Yeah.
Very fruity, very friendly, just asking you to sip it immediately.
Yeah.
So very friendly and for the beginner as well as for the experienced user. If I come into a hotel far away from the tourist routes and I look into the bar and see different unknown whiskies, then I see the Glenfiddich and I say, well, don't make experiments, take the Glenfiddich.
It's exceptionally fruity, and it's almost a little bit like a Williams Pierce schnapps, but minus the sharpness, because all these fruit schnapps, they always have that window cleaner feel to it. And this is a proper single malt, round off, all the edges are round off. Malty, very, very, very fruity for a single malt. But that's what you get when you have a high cut with small stills and not that much, not that fast of a distillation. So that is the Glenfiddich style.
Yeah. Cheers. Very friendly, juicy, and then the oakiness comes through. So 12 years of age definitely gives some oakiness, a little bit of spiciness, so that you can use the Glenfiddich as well for a long drink, for a whiskey drink, so that it will be able to get through the sugar and everything through this drink. So this is definitely a whiskey, but I remember the Glenfiddich as softer, not so spicy. The oakiness, it grew in oakiness.
Yeah.
So that means that there are fresher casks in it, which deliver more. So probably they increase the cask maturation and the slow down, reduce the time kept of a cask used in the distillery. Probably they take the under matured whiskey for some finishing, for blended, for something. Yeah.
I do like it. It's not as fruity as you have it in the nose. You do have a bit of spiciness, a lot of maltiness. It really feels like a cereal bowl, and has a good amount of oak in it, but also the fruitiness is in there. And it's a friendly beginner's whiskey, 40% ABV, and you realize why it is what it is today. But I have to say, I'm not quite sure if I said earlier before it's slower distilled. I'm not quite sure if that is right, because usually
stills are small.
The stills are small. Also, the old still house is direct fired, and they really put a lot of effort into getting the same style in the new still house. So they're probably running the steam very hot in the new warehouse still house.
So the new one isn't direct fired?
It's not direct fired.
So the old one has rummagers running in the stills? And I forgot to tell, it's 32.99 here at Whisky.com. This is not too expensive, but Glenfiddich rose out of the very cheap brand. So they increased quality as well as brand, as standing in the branch. So they climbed a few steps in the ladder.
I do like it. You realize it's a very, very well-made whiskey, and it's not for no reason that they are the biggest single malt whiskey in the world. And I think the 12-year-old is their main flagship. Or is there one below that?
No,
I think the 12 is really their main flagship.
Yeah.
So have a look at Whisky.com if you're interested in that Glenfiddich, 12 years old. And thank you much for watching, and see you next time.